Is the RBA risking a recession? Let's have a look. Good evening, everyone. Florian here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee. Let's look at this article and this warning from economist Stephen Koukoulas about the RBA potentially risking a recession with their latest interest rate increase. What do you reckon, guys? Before we look at this article, let me ask you one question. If we enter a recession and the economy starts to slow down, what do you think will happen to the housing market? Will it come tumbling down as people are forced to sell? Or will it start overheating as people invest in Aussie gold? Or will the government use the housing sector to stimulate the economy? Let me know in the comments which one you think it is. I think it'll be a little bit of B and a little bit of C, to be honest. So let's look at this article. Economist Stephen Koukoulas says the RBA risks recession with 13th over-egged rate rise. A prominent Australian economist has feared the RBA over-egged Tuesday's interest rate rise. Over-egged? Well, what the hell does that even mean? Like adding too many eggs to something? That doesn't make sense. Just more eggs is awesome. It's like garlic. You cannot add too much garlic to a dish. Which now has the genuine potential to push the country into recession. So it depends on regarding what a recession is, it depends on which way you choose to interpret it. I think 2 quarters of negative GDP growth, that's one I'd say universally accepted method of considering that we're in recession. The last one we had was kind of a bullshit recession, to be brutally honest, because it was during the pandemic and everyone was flooded with money. Before that, I think I was in grade 2. It was the recession Australia had to have. And there was actually, because we were Victorians, that's why I know what AFL is, and we were part of the wave that migrated up to Queensland during that recession. Because I think it got quiet for my father's construction company, so we came up here. Because we used to go on holiday all the time. And they had this sport, kind of like AFL, but they just ran into each other and they didn't kick the ball. A bit of culture shock too. But anyway, weather was awesome though. Stephen Koukoulas, who was previously an economics advisor to the Prime Minister's department, believed Tuesday's Melbourne Cup rate rise of 25 points went too far. Australia's official cash rate target now sits at 4.35%, the highest it's been since November 2011. Following 13 increases in 18 months. And have I actually, you know what, I think I've been really lazy because I haven't programmed the cash rate to keep working yet. I've got to update that. I'm still running on a shoestring setup here at the moment, guys. Oh, look, they've got a chart here. There you go, look at that. Okay, now, we all knew, well, at least I'm hoping, all of us who are watching the channel knew that 0.1% was insane. But look at this. I mean, it's pretty much been going down since living memory. I mean, that's ancient times before 2011. Who can even remember that far back? Boy, I mean, there you go, guys. So it's shot up. So it's returning back to normal. We've kind of been in a funny period since the GFC, haven't we? Appearing on 60 Minutes, Mr. Koukoulas said, there were signs the economy was slowing down, and the interest rate hikes needed more time to work. Instead, he accused the RBA of over-prescribing the medicine for a problem that's already been fixed. They didn't need this last interest rate hike because the economy's slowing down, inflation's falling, unemployment's going up. The risk is now that the over-tightened interest rates could lead to a hard landing for the economy and plunge the country into recession. In technical terms, this is classified as 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth in real GDP, the last of which was recorded in 1991. No, we had one. We had one during the pandemic. Remember, we had the insane fall of GDP and then a tiny fall afterwards, unless that wasn't in real GDP. But yeah, but in reality, I mean, the real recession was in 91. Let me know in the chat if you remember that one, guys. Showing your age. This is the recession Australia had to have. Then a generation learned what happened when you vote Labour, eh? Don't worry. They're learning again. That's why I spent $200 at the shops today when I just did a little quick shop after going to the library. Isn't it awesome? There's a real risk that the RBA is over-egged, he said. Economists really dislike them intently. They cause economic pain. They cause people to lose their jobs, he says. That was a bit of a jump. Maybe this article cut it out. I'm assuming it's to do with rate rises. Or maybe the RBA. Or recessions. I'm assuming he's discussing recessions. He said there were close to a 50% genuine chance of a recession. That's what he's talking about. I mean, okay, people don't like recessions. Economists don't like recessions. But the problem is, one of the advantages of a recession is that the dead wood should be cleared to have opportunities for the new growth to come up. Some of the less effective businesses, the failing businesses, should be allowed to fall over and new businesses take their place, new opportunities created. But when you have organizations and companies that are too big to fail, when you have the government stepping in and manipulating the market, that benefit, that regeneration, that clearing of the forest can't occur. So, I mean, we all know Australia isn't a free market. As much as people like to blame the free market for everything, blame capitalism, we don't have a very free one here in Australia. So it's a line ball call, he said. We'll be watching the data just like the RBA to see whether that's a real probability. Following her first rate rise as the new RBA governor, Michelle Bullock said the hike was needed to stem inflation. Inflation in Australia has passed its peak, but is still too high and is proving more persistent than expected a few months ago, she said. Well, riddle me this. How many of you in a service business that have upped your fees are going to bring them down? Well, you're not, but you're going to keep bringing them up? Well, yeah, you still will. You still will increase your fees because your costs are going up. And what's the cost for a lot of people? Borrowing money. What type of economy do we have? Pretty high service-based economy. What about all the goods that are imported that we're buying? Are they getting more expensive or less expensive? Well, shipping costs have gone back to normal. Oil costs are down. But it takes time for those benefits to flow through. And also the dollar, she's not doing too bad. We'll have to see how this all works out, guys. I mean, it could be that we don't need this rise, that Kukulis is right, that it just takes a lot longer than expected for these things to flow through. Because prices are sticky, particularly when they go up. You're not dropping them anytime soon. Everything else just pretty much has to catch up to it, or we get more competition that brings prices down. The latest reading on CPI inflation indicates that while goods prices inflation has eased, so this doesn't mean prices are going down, this means they're going up at a slower rate. The prices of many services are continuing to rise briskly. Kukulis said he believed rates would likely fall between March to May 24 and told borrowers they were almost through the worst of it. For people with a big mortgage, yes, hang in there. Beg, steal, or borrow to make your repayments. If you can get through this period, this difficult period of high interest rates and high cost of living pressures, then there'll be a sign of relief for everyone. Or everybody. Let's have a chat about his take on this one, guys. I mean, he is right with regards to people just having to toughen it out. I mean, how long are you going to go and struggle to give it all in? I mean, I think a lot of Australians, we looked at an article the other day about a family doing it tough really hard, and people are going, you've got no sympathy for him in the video, Florian, you're just a bastard. And I'm going, my response to that was they had to give up coffee and had to start taking packed lunches to work. They're not doing it tough. They don't know what doing it tough is. That's what Australians think is doing it tough. I mean, last recession was in 91. I was still in primary school. That's how long it's been since we've had a recession. And I'm an old man now. So, what do you reckon, everyone? Do you think the RBA have raised cash rates too high, or are they going to bring them up even higher? Do you think Koukoulas is on the money, or is he off target? Regardless, I think if we do head into a recession, I don't think it's going to be dragging down housing anytime soon. It'll just be more money going into that sector. Anyway, guys, have a great night, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.